This is the story of an old woman who named things. She named the old car she drove
Betsy.
She named the old chair she sat in
Fred.
She named the old bed she slept on.
Roxanne.
And she named her old house.
Franklin.
Every morning she would get out of Roxanne, have a cup of cocoa in Fred, lock up Franklin, and drive to the post office in Betsy. She always hoped for a letter from someone, but all she ever got was bills. The reason the old woman never got any letters was because she had outlived every single one of her friends. This worried her. She didn't like the idea of being a lonely old woman without any friends, without anyone whom she could call by name. One day, when the old woman was out soaping some mud off Betsy, telling her that Franklin wouldn't want to be seen with a car that didn't keep its bumpers a little cleaner, a shy little dog came to the old woman's gate. The old woman had not named the gate because of its two hinges had rusted off, and she could tell the gate wasn't long for this world. The shy little puppy wagged its tail and looked a little hungry. The old woman stood beside Betsy and watched the puppy for a while. Then she walked into Franklin, got a chunk of ham from her refrigerator, and came back outside. The old woman gave the ham to the little hungry puppy and told it to go home. She told it that Betsy always made puppies sick and Fred never allowed puppies to sit on him, and Roxanne wasn't wide enough for a puppy and an old woman to fit on. And besides all this, Franklin could not tolerate dog hair. So the puppy went away. That night, the old woman plumping up the pillows on Roxanne, she thought about the puppy.
He's such a pretty puppy. He's a sweet little puppy. But I just have to keep telling him to go home. Fred wouldn't like him, and certainly Franklin wouldn't like hair all over the place. And I'm just going to have to keep telling him to go home. I can't risk it. I don't want to love something that I might lose again. I'm just going to tell him to go home.
Every day, the shy little puppy came to the old woman's gate. Every day she fed it, told it to go home. Always it went away, and it always came back the next day. This went on for many, many months. The puppy got bigger and bigger until soon it wasn't a puppy anymore. It was a dog, and it was still a dog with no name. In all this time, the old woman had gotten a new dresser that she had named Bill, a new wheelbarrow that she had named Francine, and a new concrete pig for her garden she had named Bud. But the dog she faithfully fed at her gate every day still had no name. Since it had no name, the old woman didn't have to worry about outliving it, and she thought of herself pretty clever. Then one day, the shy little dog did not come to the old woman's house. She sat in Fred and watched the gate all day long, but the dog never came. The old woman felt sad. The next day, again, the dog did not come. The old woman drove Betsy around town looking for the dog, but she did not find it. The old woman felt even sadder.
Poor little doggy. I wonder where he is. Poor little doggy.
The following day, when still the dog did not come, the old woman knew she had to do something. She picked up her telephone and called the dog catcher.
Hello, dog catcher? Yes, this is the old woman. Have you picked up any shy little puppies? Any nice little dogs? Well, I know you have lots of dogs at the dog catcher, but I'm looking for a very shy, nice dog. Has he come in? No, he didn't have a collar. No, I don't think he has a name. but he's such a nice, shy little dog.
The old woman sat and thought about the shy little dog who had no collar with no name. Wherever it was, no one would know that it was supposed to come to the old woman's gate every day and that she was supposed to feed it and tell it to go home every day, that things were always supposed to be this way. The shy little dog had no collar, no name, and no one would ever be able to know the things about it. The old woman made a decision. She locked up Franklin and drove Betsy to the dog catcher's booth.
Good afternoon. I've come to find my dog. What's his name? I'm a lonely old woman, but I've had so many good friends. I've had people who love me. I've had a wonderful life. I'm a lucky old woman. My dog's name is Lucky.
He led her to a big yard full of white dogs, black dogs, and brown dogs. The old woman looked and looked and looked, and she finally saw her own little dog sitting beside a gate. The dog was looking at Betsy, parked in the driveway. That day on, Lucky lived with the old woman, and he always came when his name was called. It turns out that Betsy didn't make all dogs sick, and Fred was happy to allow a dog to sit on him. Franklin really didn't mind a little dog hair. And every night Roxanne was sure to make herself plenty white enough for a shy little Lucky dog and the old woman who named him.
Precious Lucky. So this story is about aging in place. It's about autonomy and self-determination. It's also about grief and losses that older adults face when all the people that they love die before them. And lastly, it's about compensatory coping skills and how important it is that older adults have companions like pets. All of the literature points to the fact that older adults need to have autonomy whenever possible. And even though aging in place can be difficult, if they can manage appropriate coping skills so that they can continue to live in their home, they're much better off. We also know that grief and loss are part of the aging continuum. We know that we're going to experience these losses, and the more whole and the more balanced a person's personality, the better they'll be when they cope with all of these reactivated grief and serial losses. And finally, it's really wonderful to see the hopefulness and the really documented improvements and enhancements to quality of life that companion pets can bring to older adults. So the moral of this story is, even if you face a lot of loss, you can still cope beautifully. Even if you have some depression from the grief that you experience, you'll find ways to find your new normal. And in that new normal, if you include something that allows you to have purpose in life, to have love and companionship like the old woman had with her Lucky, then you really do find an enhancement to quality of life for an older adult. We hope you enjoyed the story. Thank you.